Om Shanti, 19th March 1982. Today, Baba, the Almighty Authority, is pleased to see Shakti Army. To what extent has each of you, Master Almighty Souls, imbibed all powers within yourself? Do you know all the main powers very well, and you have created your own pictures on the basis of those? This picture is a sign of the living form. It is the indication of your becoming elevated and great. When each action is elevated and great, it proves that you use the powers. That is, your actions are the picture. Whether souls are weak or powerful, they are recognized from their actions. When they are full of all powers and the complete embodiment of power, they are recognized through their actions, because they have to come into connection with people and have to interact in situations. This is why there are the terms field of action, karma kshetra, relationships through actions, karma sambandh, physical senses, karmendriya, organs with which each action are performed, suffering of karma, karma bhog, and yoga, which while in action, that is karma yoga. Therefore, the speciality of this physical world is action. Just as the speciality of the incorporeal world is to be beyond action, that is, to be detached from action, so too the corporeal world means action. If the actions are elevated, then the reward is also elevated. When karma is corrupt, there is the reward of sorrow. However, the basis of both is karma. Your karma is the mirror that reflects the soul. Through the mirror of karma, you can recognize your form of power. If no power is revealed through action, then no matter how much someone says that he is a Master Almighty Authority, if that hasn't been revealed through his action, even though he is living on the field of action, then would anyone believe him? For instance, although someone may claim to be very clever warrior and very clever in battling, if he is unable to battle with an enemy on the battlefield and is defeated, would anyone believe that he is a clever warrior? In the same way, someone may intellectually consider himself to be an embodiment of power, but if at the time of an adverse situation or when coming into connection with others, if at the time when he needs a particular power, he is unable to use that particular power, would anyone believe that he is an embodiment of power? Simply to understand with your intellect is like just sitting at home and considering yourself to be very clever. However, if you don't show that form at that time, if you are unable to use the power you need at that time, if you remember it after the time has passed, then would you be called an embodiment of power? The stage of being elevated in action is needed. You should be able to use the power according to the time. Therefore, check yourself throughout your whole day's activity, to see to what extent you have become a Master Almighty Authority. Which special power makes you victorious at the right time, and in which power are you weak and thereby repeatedly defeated? Some children know the powers they are weak in, and they even speak of them, but in an ordinary way. Whenever there is a Dharna Yukt gathering or in an atmosphere of similar effort makers, the majority try to hide their weakness from others. Some relate their weakness at that time, but they don't have as much recognition of the seed of that weakness. They speak about it superficially. They speak extensively of the external form, but they do not come to the seed. Therefore, what is the result? They trim the branches of that weakness, and for a short time they thereby feel as though that weakness has finished. However, because the seed is still there, because it receives the water of various situations, the branches of that same weakness start to grow again. Nowadays, illness in the world are not cured permanently because doctors don't know the seed of the illness. This is why the illness is suppressed, but isn't completely cured. Similarly, here too, you must finish the seed by knowing the seed. Some of you even know the seed, but because of carelessness, You say, yes, it will happen at some time. It won't be finished in just one go. It definitely takes time. They try to become very clever in this way. At the time when they should be powerful, they are knowledgeful. However, knowledge is a power, but they don't use that knowledge as a form of power. They just use it in the form of a point. However, each point of knowledge is a weapon. They don't use it in the form of a weapon. Therefore, understand the seed and don't allow anything due to carelessness to be lacking and thereby stop you from becoming complete and perfect. If after understanding the seed, you experience yourself to have the power to know the seed, but not the power to burn that seed, then you can take help from the many elevated souls who are embodiment of intense yoga. Because weak souls are unable to have a direct connection with the Father or take correction from the Father. They must take cooperation from the second number elevated souls and have themselves verified. By having yourself verified, you will automatically be purified. So, do you understand what you have to check and how? Firstly, don't hide anything. Secondly, don't ignore anything whilst knowing it, and don't just make do. When you just make do, you also cry out. So today, Bap Dada was looking at the power of the Shakti army. Now use the powers you have attained, because it is your actions that give your introduction to all the souls of the world. It is through your actions that they will easily come to know you. Actions are more gross than thoughts, which are subtle energy. Souls of today are able to recognize the physical form very quickly. Generally, subtle energy is much more elevated than physical. However, it is very difficult now for people to catch subtle vibrations. Through the power of your actions, they will continue to come to know the power of your thoughts. Serving through the mind is more elevated than serving through actions. The service to transform their attitudes and atmosphere through your attitude is extremely elevated. Nevertheless, it is easier to perform actions than to do this. You have also been given this definition before, but today Baba is clarifying the aspect of giving a glimpse or vision of you being an embodiment of power through your actions. It will become easier for the power of your thoughts to reach them through your actions. Otherwise, weak action bring down the intellect, your subtle energy and your thoughts, just as the earth's gravity brings down things from above. Therefore, put that visions in your actions. Acha. To those who reveal every power through their karma, to those who reveal the Almighty Authority Father through their embodiment of power, to those who are embodiment of power, who constantly recognize and then transform themselves, to those who constantly grant a vision of the unique Father through their activities, to such Master Almighty souls who perform elevated actions, to the souls who are the embodiment of power, Bap Dada's love, remembrance and Namaste.